Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, which is brought to you by Wellness Forum Health and the Wellness Forum Institute for Health Studies. I have a couple of announcements, including a Christmas in July offer that you're going to want to hear about in a second. First of all, tonight we are offering the skin cancer hoax class again. We offered it once before. We had some technical problems. We couldn't record it, so it's going to be live tonight. We'll record it again. Hopefully, it'll become part of the permanent library. But you have an opportunity to be live tonight if you'd like to. Just call our office to enroll. Tomorrow is the workshop I have been asked by lots of people to produce, and that is the one on appeal, spelled APEEL. I have some interesting stuff to share with you about this. So that is for our professional members and above. And by the way, some of you asked me in emails, do you have to be a health professional to have a professional membership? You don't. A lot of consumers upgrade to professional membership just so they can have the added benefits, which includes workshops like this. So the Christmas in July special, let me tell you about that. Purchase a 6-month supply of our smoothie ingredients, and you get 3 times that value, 2.5 times that value toward 4 programs that I offer. One is Optimal Health and Life with Pam, Part 1, Optimal Life and Health with Pam, Part 2. Those are annual programs. I only offer them once a year in the fall. I'm adding 2 others, Common Conditions, Causes, and Treatments, Part 1 and 2, also will be this fall. And these will cover things like hypertension, AFib, UTIs, headaches and migraines, restless leg, thyroid disorders, kidney stones, tetanus vaccines, hemorrhoids, food allergies and sensitivities, tinnitus, fibromyalgia, etc. Topics I haven't talked a lot about. So each one of those is $9.95, and you can choose 2 of them with just 6 months supply of smoothie. And that is a limited time offer. So if you want information about it, send me an email at pampopper@msn.com, and I'll send you the flyer. And you can also call the office and talk to Kelly about it as well. All right, so I have 3 items to share with you. I'm going to start with an email from a subscriber. I'm featuring more of those lately. You guys seem to like that. So here's what the subscriber writes. I watch your videos and agree that we're generally overdiagnosed, overmedicated, and overtreated by many conventional doctors. Do you maintain a list of health professionals who are on the same page that you refer people to? Well, the short answer is no. We only refer to health professionals who've been trained by us and who have joined our network. We know that these people are on the same page. They will not promote overuse of conventional medicine, nor will they promote the voodoo, which is our term for a lot of alternative medicine practices that are just as bad, if not worse, than conventional medicine. So the list of providers is short but growing. What we've done for consumers for decades, like people say, well, then what am I going to do until you grow your network? Well, what we've done for decades and will continue to do until we build our whole system is to arm consumers with training and confidence so that when they interact with any health professional in any medical system, in any place in the world, they will not be taken advantage of. So some examples, our members know how to read the medical literature. They know the difference between relative and absolute numbers. They know the difference between correlation and a cause and effect relationship, and many other means of evaluating data. They often say confidently to doctors, thank you so much for the suggestion. I'll be looking into this. If you have articles concerning the treatment, I'll take them with me. If not, I can find them on my own, but I'll let you know what I decide. Our members know that in an emergency situation, they need to let doctors take charge. That's where medicine, Western medicine, really shines, is when intervention is needed right at this moment. But they also know that 95% of the time, there's no emergency and there's time to carefully consider options and make informed choices. So all of this to say, if you're worried about knowing what to do or concerned about what doctors are telling you to do, join, learn how to do this, and you'll take control. This is really taking control of your health rather than trying to find somebody else to tell you what to do. And I stress that all the time. Many people are sending these emails to me because they don't like what they're being told to do by one practitioner. So they're thinking the solution is find somebody else to tell them what to do. The solution to it is you know what to do, and you don't do things that you know are wrong. All right. The second thing is, the second item is the connection between childhood adverse events and irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. Misdiagnosis and mistreatment of irritable bowel is very common. One of the problems is that doctors tend to label any patient who has gastrointestinal symptoms that aren't really readily explainable as IBS syndrome, right? So this includes people who eat a diet with inadequate fiber and water and they're constipated, or people who have taken drugs that have damaged their microbiome and they're experiencing GI distress. Anything that doesn't fall into some type of diagnostic criteria for gastrointestinal disorders just gets labeled as IBS. On the other hand, people who really do have IBS are told that it's a biological condition that can be solved with special diets and restrictions. That's not true. IBS is a real condition with physical symptoms, but its cause is psychological. While a health promoting diet's a good idea for everyone, it's not likely to resolve discomfort for a patient who has IBS. In fact, if the better diet solves the problem, it probably wasn't IBS in the first place. So a recent study shed some light on this issue. A case control study looked at the effect of anxiety, resilience, and adverse childhood experiences on the risk of IBS. Data from 368 patients with IBS were compared with data from 430 healthy controls. The prevalence of adverse child experiences was higher among patients with IBS than controls and was similar between men and women. IBS does occur more in women than men, but the psychological underpinnings are the same. The researchers reported that a history of childhood adverse experiences was associated with a twofold higher risk of IBS in both sexes, and that strategies to decrease anxiety and increase resilience are recommended to help IBS patients get better. Now, Wellness Forum offers an entire course on IBS, and we cite many studies showing the same result and cover other aspects of this condition as well. To be clear, the assertion is not that IBS is in your head or a made-up condition. It's real. But the solution is the right type of therapy, cognitive therapy, which has been shown to be effective for addressing IBS in dozens of studies. While we encourage our members to adopt optimal habits, we also make sure that they know that this alone is not going to resolve or take care of IBS-related problems. I'm going to be talking more about this in the Common Diseases series because IBS is part of a spectrum of conditions like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. So there will be more of this in those particular weekends. So the third thing I want to cover, I guess I'll call it fear of xylitol. Many of you have written about this issue. Xylitol is sometimes used as a sweetener in mints and sugar-free gum, and it's also recognized as being helpful for improving dental health. A recent Cleveland Clinic study has caused some people who are using xylitol to improve dental health to panic, and it's all due to misinterpretation of the results. So the headlines read, and there's always the headlines, and then there's what really underlies the headlines, right? So the headlines read that xylitol could be associated with increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. That sounds pretty scary, yeah. And the lead researcher suggested that xylitol and other sweeteners in its class should be investigated further. The problem is the study design. The xylitol, the amount of it that was ingested and the method of ingestion is nothing like the way it's used in the real world. So the headlines about this study were what I refer to commonly as clickbait. You're trying to get attention. You're trying to, and when I say you, I mean, or somebody's trying to get attention, the publication that's running the story or the researcher who's involved in it, or the journal. Journals like clickbait because it helps with their advertising revenue. But I'll share some details about the study, and I think you'll see what I mean. Researchers observed that blood platelets were more likely to clot in people who drank xylitol-sweetened beverages than those who consumed a beverage sweetened with glucose. Now, some of the issues, which were, first of all, there were only 10 people in the study. They fasted for 12 hours and then one time consumed a liquid with 30 grams of xylitol. So this is not the way people consume xylitol, and it's a dose that's the equivalent of 60 mints containing xylitol consumed at the same time. Now, to put this in perspective, I personally am using xylitol for improving dental health, and I consume 6 of these tablets over a 24-hour period. So can you imagine somebody sitting down and consuming 60 of these mints on an empty stomach all at one time? It's ridiculous. The dose is the poison, and even water, which is required for health, becomes toxic if you consume too much of it. Some of you might remember the story many years ago. A woman died while running the Boston Marathon because she consumed too much water. She developed hyponatremia from overconsumption of water. And nobody suggested in response that people should stop drinking water. We need to investigate water more because somebody did an asinine thing. Xylitol, by the way, is a naturally occurring substance, which is in many fruits and vegetables like plums, strawberries, cauliflower, and pumpkin. Most of us are consuming some of it in food. So what I've done because of this is I've added xylitol to the list of topics to create a Things You Should Know lecture. That's one of the benefits of professional membership. And the appeal lecture tomorrow is in the Things You Should Know series. I have lots more to share and say, and there's a lot of research out there about xylitol. So I'll have more to say about that when we run that workshop. So watch the Wellness Forum calendar for it. But the bottom line is that this study certainly isn't reason to be concerned about consuming xylitol. Didn't make me concerned. It's not a real world um, uh, example of how people actually consume it. And by the way, that's common in a lot of quote unquote toxicology studies where you use ridiculous amounts of something that nobody consumes in real life. And I'll give you an example of this. I remember reading a study in which the purpose seemed to be to dissuade people from eating processed meats. I think eating processed meats is a bad idea, generally speaking. I mean, 4th of July, you have a hot dog, but doing that kind of stuff all year long, not so great, right? So the researchers gave, it was either rats or mice, some kind of rodent, the equivalent of nitrate or nitrite, something like the equivalent of 730,000 bologna sandwiches in a year. And it's almost counterproductive because a person could look at that and say, well, I only have bologna twice a week, so I guess I'm fine. So these types of studies get a lot of publicity. All the rats died, or people can develop problems because of xylitol. Again, it's clickbait, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the way that people actually use these products in real life. So be careful when you look at headlines. Look at the underlying story before you reach any conclusion about it. All right, that's all for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you on Thursday with more news.